Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight, the world's greatest detective, the Bat, Vengeance, the Knight, Batman. Listen, you and I both know that everyone who can mod has tried to mod their Skyrim to play as the Dark Knight. Now, unfortunately, no one has really bothered to put together a video telling you what mods you need to do that playthrough, but today we've got a list put together here that will let you play as the Bat in Skyrim and in a lore-friendly way. Now, fair warning before we get into this, there's quite a few mods in this one, so I will break it into 3 categories: gameplay, gear, and combat. Time for all those will be down in the description below. Okay, we're not going to bury the lead here. Let's get right into what everybody wants to know: the gear. The Bat of Skyrim is the mod you're going to want to download. It'll give you your iconic suit and a short quest taking you to Wayne Manor and bringing the Bat into Skyrim in a lore-friendly way. After you download the mod, you're going to want to take a little nap, and then when you wake up, you're going to recount a dream that you had. That'll add a journal to your inventory and you'll be asked to read it. And quite honestly, if you are interested in the lore, this is a very good read for you. Anyway, after reading that, it's going to ask you to head to your childhood home, which of course is Wayne Manor. Once you're there, my goodness, just take a second and really explore this place. Eventually, you're going to find yourself inside your father's old office, and in classic Batman fashion, there's a button on the wall. When you press it, it'll open a hidden bookcase, which leads you to a hidden tunnel. In this tunnel, you'll find the Wayne family vault, but most importantly, you'll find another hidden door, and guess what that leads you to? Yeah, the Batcave. Good guess. This is the next cool part of this mod. It's a lot, and we have a lot to get through here, so I will try to wrap this up quickly. There's a ton of Easter eggs and references to the Batman lore inside the Batcave. There's the Robin suit, the big coin, which is a penny normally, but obviously it's just a gold coin here, and the animatronic T-Rex, which is now a dragon, of course. There's also a place for Batman to train. You have crossbows, you have bows, maces, swords, there's dummies set around. It's a good place for you to get some target practice in. There's also a table where you can research potions and do some enchantments, and of course, some crafting areas where you can make everything from tools to armor. In the center of the cave, you will find some armor, which is from a Wayne ancestor. You're then inspired to upgrade it into a lore-friendly version of the iconic Batsuit. Now that you have your suit, you're probably going to want some gear to help you play as the Bat. That's where the mod Sneak Tools comes in. You can now craft arrows and bolts that can do things like add climbable ropes and extinguish light sources. So let's get through these. First, you can craft water arrows. These are meant to put out fires, and I mean, any fire you see, you can put it out with this arrow or bolt. If your aim's good enough, you can even put out a torch that a guard has in his hand. You'll see later on that a mod that we're going to install is going to make it easier for you to sneak around when it's darker. Oil arrows. These are going to drop a large puddle of oil wherever you shoot it, or it'll coat your enemy in oil. The main reason for the oil arrows is to pair it up with a fire arrow. I'm sure you can guess why. This makes it really easy to set a trap. If you sit and watch an NPC and figure out his path, you can shoot an oil arrow where he's going to walk, then shoot it with the fire arrow as he walks over it, and boom, he lights up like a Christmas tree. The noisemaker arrow is basically a firecracker on the end of an arrow. Now, I had some issues with this one. I couldn't get it to work for some reason. It looked pretty cool and it made a lot of noise, but the guards didn't seem to react to it. I'm sure this is probably something I did on my end, but in my experience, you can just shoot a regular arrow and the guard will turn to it and inspect that if you want to get him to move. And finally, the weirdest arrow that you're actually probably going to love is the rope arrow. The cool thing about this one is it's going to act as your grappling hook. Now, I'm not going to promise you that this is super smooth, but if you are trying to get, say, a good point of view inside of a populated city, this will definitely work for that. You basically just shoot your arrow to a location where the rope can drop down to your level, and then you climb it. It's literally that easy. If you're playing as a non-lethal version of Batman, this mod is also going to let you knock people out if you can sneak up on them. All you gotta do is just arm yourself with a mace, a blackjack, which this mod adds for crafting, or your bare hands, and when you sneak up behind someone, you're presented with the option for a knockout. When we get to the combat section, we'll show you how to enhance your hand-to-hand combat if you're going for that non-lethal version of Batman. Now let's take a look at changing some of the gameplay. Ordinator overhauls the Skyrim perk tree. I know that sounds boring. Mods that change perks are boring, but check this out. That's called Tripwire. It's a new perk in the stealth skill tree. In my playthrough, I focused on stealth, and quite early on I was able to unlock this perk. It does exactly what you see here. You can sit down on Tripwire, and then when a guard or somebody walks through it, it trips them and they fall down. Now, since I was trying to play as a non-lethal character, this was a good way for me to immobilize somebody for a short amount of time while I tried to sneak up on them and knock them out. That's just one cool highlighted perk here. Another one I enjoyed was the smoke screen. It blinds opponents in the area and it'll let you escape. And for obvious reasons, smokescreen is a good perk if you're trying to do a Batman playthrough. There's a lot of new perks added. I'm not going to tell you about all of them, but once you download it, I suggest you explore all of these. They're pretty unique. Now, if you lay that smokescreen down and you're trying to get away from whoever is attacking you, this next mod is going to be perfect. Skyrim Sewers. This adds some pretty in-depth, amazing sewer systems to Solitude, Whiterun, Windhelm, and a couple of the forts in your Skyrim game. When walking around cities, you're going to see these manhole covers, and all you got to do is walk up to them, interact with them, and that's how you get down into the sewers. Now, once in the sewers, you're going to find that they're not just empty tunnels. Different factions have bases set up under the cities. Homeless residents of Skyrim take shelter there, and you'll find exploring the tunnels will take you to some boss fights and even some unique items. These tunnels will lead you to exits on the outskirts of the cities and even into dungeons so that you can get nice and far away from wherever you just killed a bunch of people. A problem that plagues a lot of themed modded playthroughs is they can get pretty boring because it's kind of odd having Batman fight dragons and ghosts. That's where the mod notice boards comes into play. This also does exactly what it sounds like. It adds notice boards in every single town in Skyrim. Now, walking up to these and selecting a post that's on that board will give you a side quest. They include things like rescuing citizens, taking down bandits, and even investigating different crimes like missing people. This mod really adds a more street-level type of feel for missions since you're playing as Batman. The last mod in the gameplay section here is called Dread Prison. As you're doing all your new side quests and trying to take down criminals, you're going to need a place to put them. Dread Prison lets you do exactly that. What you're going to want to do is open up your map and visit the prison, which is just southwest of Whiterun. Once you do, the first thing you're going to see when going inside of this prison is a chest on your right. When you open up the chest, it has multiple spell tomes inside. Most of them are going to let you send prisoners to different parts of your prison. There's an arena inside this prison where you can put people that you've arrested. There's a torture chamber, and then there's just regular cells that you can put people in. Let's jump into the combat now. We're going to overhaul your hand-to-hand combat with a couple of mods. First, Unarmed Warfare. This is simply going to give you some cool new animations when you use unarmed heavy attacks. You can now combine punches and kicks. When you just regularly click your mouse left and right, you'll get your right hook and your left hook like you've always had. But when you use the heavy attacks, you're going to get some pretty cool animated kicks. When you hold down the left click, you get this straight-on style of kick, and your right click gives you this roundhouse style of kick. My favorite animation, though, is when you hold down both heavy attack buttons. You get this really cool front flip kicking attack where your foot comes down on their heads, and it looks pretty devastating. When you download this mod, it's going to tell you that you need melee power knockback as well, which is what you're seeing in this video where the people that I'm kicking go flying. If you don't want them to go flying like that, just don't download this mod. A mod we installed earlier is going to give you some new fun perks with unarmed combat. You'll find those under the light armor category. Some of the highest perks allow you to train in a specific element to add to your hand-to-hand combat attacks. You can add things like shock, fire, shadow, and many other different kind of elements to your punches. And finally, TK Dodge. This is going to make hand-to-hand combat something that's actually viable in Skyrim. You can now dodge incoming attacks. Normally, you would just swing and swing and swing and swing and swing until your opponent went down. Now you can see an incoming attack and get out of the way so that you can reposition and attack your enemy. This, combined with your new hand-to-hand combat perks, thanks to Ordinator, will make fighting with your fists something that you can actually do in a Skyrim playthrough. Well, guys, that's all I got. I hope you have fun playing as the Dark Knight in any way that you see fit. All the links to this mod are down below in the video's description. Stay safe, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.